Alexia Gannon. I'm one of the owners here at Clover Meadow Winery, White Wolf Distillery. We're starting these video vlogs, vlogs I think is what they're, vlogs, with the hope to kind of share a little bit about what you can expect to see when you come here. We have a lot of fun doing this as a family. It is a family-run business. We focus on fruit from the state. So you might come in and say, hey, do you have any Merlots? And we're going to tell you no, because the Merlot grape does not grow in our climate. But we should have a couple of different wines that will complement the flavor profile you might like in a Merlot. So we are focused on Wisconsin or northern grown grapes and fruit. We do have some dandelion wine and some other specialty wines if you're interested. Call that a little bit more eclectic. So let's get started. So what is different about Clover Meadow? We are certified organic winery distillery. We are one of 13 certified organic wineries in the entire United States, the only one we believe in the Midwest. And we are a certified organic distillery. We make moonshine, brandy, whiskey, liqueurs, oh my gosh, the list just keeps growing. So what are we going to talk to you about today? So today I figured we'd start with wine tasting. What is wine tasting? Why, when you come here to sample, what are you doing? Okay, so we're going to do some sampling today. We are going to sample our new Pink Lady. We are super proud of this wine. This is our first dry rosé. It's going into a couple of competitions this year. So it is a rhubarb wine. We made it in the style of a Pinot Gris. So if you've watched before, you've seen that I said, you know, we don't make wines with your traditional grapes, you know, the things you think of as Merlots, Chardonnays. The grapes just don't grow here. So we do still do stylistic wines of that would be considered similar. So when I say this is similar to a Pinot Gris, what do I mean by that? So this is a dry wine. It's residual sugar from a refractometer. It's a cute little thing you look through and it tells you how many, what's the sugar left in the wine. Stylistically, it is the same as a Pinot Gris. So it's sitting at about 6 bricks. I'm not going to go into bricks, that'll bore you. We'll do that in another session. But 6 bricks, which I personally drink Pinot Gris that are in between 5 and 7 bricks. So what else do I mean by stylistic components? It's light, it's not heavy. So if you think of a Pinot Gris, you're drinking your Pinot Gris on a hot day, sitting outside, they've been chilled, and it's just crisp, it's fruity, it's refreshing, right? It's wine, but you could sit and drink a glass or two with a bottle, you know, and just really feel refreshed. It's not heavy. You wouldn't have it with a steak. Some people might, but typically it's not paired with a steak. So when I say the characteristics of this are like a Pinot Gris, I do mean that the residual sugar is about the same. The viscosity, and so viscosity is another one we'll go into. It's kind of fun. But the flavor profile is the same. So how do you taste a wine? So some people are like, oh, I'm going to taste this wine. I'm going to see if I like it. And they just come in. Great, I did a taste. That works. But if you really want to get an idea of all of the characteristics of the wine you're tasting, we do it slightly different. So the first characteristic you're looking for is visual. Clarity. Wines do not always have to be clear, by the way. But clarity is something you look at. Is it cloudy? Is it viscosity I mentioned earlier? Viscosity is another thing you look at when you are looking at a wine. So what do I mean by viscosity? That's thickness. You're like, wines aren't thick. If you've ever heard of the concept of legs on a wine glass, what you're actually seeing is the viscosity of a wine. So as the alcohol absorbs, it moves the wine up the glass. The thicker the wine, the more legs you can see rising because it has that viscosity to rise up the glass. It's not, it is somewhat of a sign of alcohol because you obviously have to have alcohol to absorb to go up the glass. But just because it has legs doesn't mean it's a high alcohol wine. Kind of a fun thing to know. You look at all characteristics of your wine you're about to drink. The next thing you do isn't taste, it's smell. So most of your taste buds are influenced by what you're smelling. So when you do wine tasting, if you start with a quick scent. So when I smell this, I smell cantaloupe and some lemon rind. Maybe a little barley. All of that's going to influence the way it tastes when I take my first sip. You can always see this when you start looking at our scents. This is why a lot of wineries will do specialized tasting with scents. So I've smelled and I take my first sip. Now, this part is really important. So I've been drinking coffee all morning. So what am my taste buds, black coffee. My taste buds are geared to dark cocoa, flavors that aren't represented in this wine. So the first thing you do is you want to get rid of any taste you already have in your mouth. So eat a cracker, grab a piece of cheese, anything to just kind of clear the palate. Sometimes if you have coffee beans, smelling them can clear your palate. There's a number of different things you can do to do that. So the first sip you take isn't about taking a drink. You will actually spit this out. So okay. So now you go, okay, what flavors am I tasting? Your taste buds are positioned in your mouth, so you have different taste buds that you taste on the tip of your tongue versus the back of your tongue. So that quick taste, I only went and spun it around the front part of my mouth. So there, I really am tasting my melon flavors, I'm tasting my lemon. So now it's time for your next one. This one you're gonna bring back to the back end of your tongue, not gonna swallow it.
Where you can spend upwards to $160 just to do a tasting. Yeah. And if you have an actual glass of something, it can be $200 or $300.
More of the lemon flavors coming out in this now. More of your citrus is there. Now here, next one is where you can actually, if you're tasting, now you swallow.
Massive great.
Now I've given my palate a chance to clear up anything that was already there. And I'm actually tasting what the wine tastes like. So if you've ever gone to a wine tasting and you're like, well, the second sip tastes better than the first. Well, it's because you're clearing your palate to actually taste what that wine tastes like. So going slow, enjoying all aspects of it, your smell, your visual, and then all of the taste to get your taste buds in alignment with what the wine is really going to accentuate the wine tasting, and you're going to get different characteristics out of the wine than you would have otherwise. Now comes the fun part. So now you've leveled your palate to that wine. Now you can start to bring out other flavors by maybe what you're sampling at your table or what you're smelling. So we've sampled, we've acclimated our palate to the wine we're trying. Now let's see what we can do to accentuate certain flavors that we like. So I have here two of our Burnett dairy cheeses, the Northwoods cheddar and the Alpine style cheddar, which used to be called the Alpha. Love these cheeses with our wine. So the Alpine is a cheddar cheese. It's really buttery, slightly salty. The Northwoods cheddar is it's the closest thing I've seen from them as a yogurt type cheddar. Very smooth, not bland flavor, but just a mild flavor. So you can pair it really well with a lot of things. So we're gonna start with the Northwoods cheddar. Like I said, mild flavor doesn't add too much cheese, but nice light salt. Just take that, take your wine. You can do it two different ways. You can taste the wine, see the flavors, and then because that wine's already on your taste buds, eat a piece of cheese. That's going to accentuate the flavors of the wine. You can also do it the reverse, where you eat the piece of cheese and then drink the wine. And when you do that, you're going to see you get completely different flavor profiles coming from the wine.
All you have to do is make sure that you've got...
So now we can go with smells. So this is a lemon scent. I'm sorry, this is honey, this is lemon. So if I have someone smell first honey and then taste the wine, you can do this at home. Go open a thing of honey, do a quick scent or smell, and then taste. It's going to bring out more of your mellow flavors in the wine. Then, like I had said, there's a lemon flavor, that I taste a lemon flavor. That's almost buried because what I smelled was a sweet honey. Okay, so now you have a lemon. So lemon is going to bring more of the citrus out. And now you can taste. And more of that crisp, clean, hot summer day, cold wine flavor comes out. So it's really amazing when you sit and do a wine tasting, how many different things you've got to think through to say, okay, do I really like this wine? You can like a wine that you'd say, I'm just going to sit and drink it outside with my friends, having a girls' night, boys' night, no food, a couple appetizers. That's going to be a different wine than you're going to buy if you want it for dinner. If you want it for fish or chicken, depending on what profile you're looking for, you've really got to think through, if I buy a wine that I enjoyed so much with food, am I still going to enjoy it as much if I'm sitting outside without food and just wanting a glass of wine? The answer could be no. And then you've got to figure out when you're buying your wine, what wine you're looking for to do what with. The best wines are the wines you're going to drink and enjoy.